You really can't have your cake and eat it.
And off they go. The 49 Afrikaner refugees fleeing South Africa for the US can never come back. Anger and scuffles outside the court case of controversial televangelist Timothy Omotoso. And stock markets rally after Chinese and US officials slash tit-for-tat tariffs for 90 days. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
49 Afrikaners headed to the United States as refugees stand to lose their status should they decide to return to South Africa. The Department of International Relations says the group en route to America under a controversial resettlement program could jeopardize their refugee protections if they try to come back. The group is traveling under US President Donald Trump's executive order, which gives special entry to white South Africans claiming persecution, despite widespread rejection of the claim by the South African government.
You really can't have your cake and eat it. So you can't go to the US on migration interest and economic interest and then suddenly decide, I miss South African weather in December. I'd like to have a braai with my kids.
International Relations and Cooperation Minister Ronald Lamola maintains that the Afrikaners who've left don't qualify as refugees.
We have stated in the statement we issued on Friday that in line with the international definition, they do not qualify for that status according to us.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will hold another meeting with US President Donald Trump to continue discussions regarding his decision to grant refugee status to this group of Afrikaners. Ramaphosa was addressing the issue during a panel discussion at the Africa CEO Forum in Abidjan, Ivory Coast.
And I said, I'd like to come and meet him so that we can discuss this matter further. So those people who have fled are not being persecuted, and we have never driven them out of our country. So they are staying, and they're making great progress.
Anger at the way he's been treated in courts by his friends and detractors. Scuffles broke out between Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotoso's supporters and members of some political parties outside the East London Magistrates Court. The televangelist faces deportation after his arrest on Sunday for allegedly flouting immigration laws.
Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotoso has appeared before the East London Magistrates Court on immigration-related charges. He is charged for contravening some provisions of the Immigration Act by being in the country illegally. This is after the Home Affairs Ministry declared him prohibited to be in the country. However, Omotoso's lawyer says his arrest was irrational as he is still appealing that decision in the High Court. The matter has now been rolled over to tomorrow for further proceedings in Nhlanhla. Eyewitness News, East London.
Lawyers representing victims of the deadly 2017 listeriosis outbreak linked to a Tiger Brands food production line have welcomed the company's first real move towards compensation. Tiger Brands has today confirmed it tabled a settlement offer to certain victims, marking a potential breakthrough in the long-stalled class action. The food manufacturer remains under intense public and legal scrutiny nearly 7 years after its polony products were traced to a listeria outbreak that killed more than 200 people and infected more than 1,000. The lawsuit is still in its first phase, focused on establishing whether Tiger Brands can be held legally liable, and only if that is proven will the court move on to determine compensation.
It is a qualified offer that they've made. It's limited to people whose genetic sampling can be traced back to the outbreak. So it's people who've been the infection that they suffered has been genetically matched to the bacteria that was found in the factory and found in Tiger's products, which is an issue we've been arguing for a very long time. So this acknowledgement by Tiger that, yes, they did produce and distributed contaminated foods is a really important one.
Some startling and a warning graphic revelations in the tribunal investigating allegations of sexual harassment levelled against Judge President Selby Benenge by Judge Secretary Andiswa Mengo. That's after she alleged that he made unwanted sexual advances towards her between 2021 and 2022.
The Judicial Conduct Tribunal is currently going through CCTV footage of the 14th of November 2022, the day of the alleged first in-person encounter between Eastern Cape Judge President Selbin Benenge and Judge's Secretary Andiso Mengo. In her evidence-in-chief in January, the junior court staffer testified that the top judge summoned her to his chambers, where he directed her attention to his bulging crotch. Head of security at the Office of the Chief Justice, Prabhakara Naidu, has testified that he received a call from the security manager at the court, Norman Mabuza, indicating that a senior judge had asked to view the footage of the day specified by Mengo.
We wanted to know, is it correct that a judge views footage without the due process being followed? And I said to him, no, that is not correct.
But this was irregular, as an application must be sent to Naidu's office stipulating the date, time and reasons for third parties viewing the footage, or for the SAPS to provide a case number for the retrieval of the footage. Zoleka Kodashe, Eyewitness News, Sandton in Johannesburg.
From today, about 1.4 million naturalized South African citizens and permanent residents are now able to obtain smart IDs. For years, IT failures forced South Africans born abroad, as well as permanent residents, to continue using only the green barcoded ID book. It also prevented them from using the eHome Affairs platform to make bookings.
Following months of diligent information technology reforms, this step marks the single most significant milestone yet on Home Affairs' exciting journey of digital transformation, with much more still to come. This is the fruits of our focus on digital transformation.
Hamas's refugee held in Gaza since October 2023 has been released. Held in Gaza since October 2023. That's even as Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned of an, quote, intensification of fighting in the war-ravaged territory. The Palestinian militant group has said it will release US-Israeli soldier Eden Alexander ahead of a visit by US President Donald Trump to the region. The group also revealed it was engaged in direct talks with Washington towards a ceasefire. Stock markets, the dollar and oil prices have rallied after Chinese and US officials slashed tit-for-tat tariffs for 90 days and fuels hopes the two sides will pull back from a standoff that has rattled global markets. Hong Kong's stock market closed up 3.0% in reaction, while Paris led the way in Europe, gaining 1.4% in midday deals. The dollar rallied against the euro, yen and British pound, while oil prices jumped around 3%. In the US, the sex trafficking trial of hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs has begun, with opening statements in a Manhattan court in New York, 7 months after his high-profile arrest. The three-time Grammy Award winner is charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy and transportation to engage in prostitution. Some of the most severe allegations fall under the racketeering charge, which includes accusations of kidnapping, drugging and coercing women into sex and threatening them with firearms or violence. The 55-year-old has denied all the charges against him and has rejected a plea deal, saying his sexual relationships were consensual. If found guilty, Combs could spend the rest of his life in prison. That's all from us. Happy investing.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.